Welcome into the sacred space of three spiritual besties. Grab a seat and join us for raw and unfiltered conscious conversations.
Thank you for tuning in to Conscious Conversations with your hosts, Ashley
Nicole.
And Brittany.
And today's episode is kind of the umbrella topic of cleansing. Now, there's a lot of different topics we're going to discuss under the topic of cleansing. There's a lot of cool modalities that you guys can embark on or participate in, or maybe even new ones that you might not be fully aware of. So, to start, I will just kind of state my daily cleansing. There's a lot of levels of cleansing. You can have daily cleansing, cleansings that you just do here and there. But for me, I find that it's really important to have like a daily cleanse. So when I wake up, I do a lot of things under kind of like mantra labeling. So I'll ask source or ask spirit, like, please have my daily cleanse or my morning cleanse for me. I'm very active at night with my light body and things. So I need to cleanse when I wake up. So I make sure that I'm energetically kind of reset that frequency. And with the energy of the rainbow flame, the violet flame, the psychic flames that I work in, there's a lot of energy around those intentions for me personally.
I'm kind of like cleansing is the thing I'm the worst at. It's my most inconsistent habit. If I do have one habit for cleansing, it would be that I keep Florida water in my shower and I will sprinkle that like on the shower floor while I'm showering to cleanse my energy, cleanse my aura, and just cleanse the space. That's my kind of like go to. I don't really think much about it, and that's what I do.
And when I'm consistent with cleansing, I'm a little bit more in depth with things. So I look at cleansing as a way to kind of reset the energy, but not just like reset the energy, to get rid of all of the energies that I've picked up throughout the day or picked up through the week, or if I'm in a space that I feel unsafe in, like I just naturally think those things kind of attach to your energy, your energetic field. So when I break it down, I kind of do it either in, you could look at it as four separate areas of cleansing, or energetic cleansing and physical cleansing. So it would be cleansing of the body, the physical body, and then cleansing of the energetic body. Then there's cleansing of the physical space, and then cleansing of the more astral or spiritual space. So when I look at these types of things, whether it's my home, whether it's my body, whether it's my energetic field, I look at these things like when you're going into a place of like you would think this sounds so like so just taboo, I guess, or not taboo, but it just is so kind of cheesy to say, but like think of your body as like a temple. When you go into a spiritual space, whether it's a church, whether it's a temple, when you step into that field, you'll notice a shift in the energy, and it's because they do a lot of not just cleansing of the spaces. So you'll see those physical cleanses of the spaces, like through smoke cleansing. I'm not a person who's often been to church, but I have seen, like in Catholic Mass, the priest will walk down the center aisle with like the incense. I think it's frankincense that they use, right? And they kind of wave it along the path to the podium. Please forgive me. I truly don't know the correct vocabulary words for these things, but you guys can paint the picture with me, right? So smoke cleansing is a big deal for me. I actually use it. I just used it as we were starting up our recording here. So I burned I burned some dry lavender right now, and then I burned a little bit of Palo Santo. I really enjoy that because it is more of a, for me, it's more of a tangible thing. And it kind of sets the mood, right? So I'm like going in with the intention of like any kind of energetic signatures that have attached themselves to whatever's in my office. I need to leave, and I need the space to be cleansed and purified for me to remain sovereign within this conversation that I'm having with the two of you. Now, if I'm doing more of an astral cleansing, what I'm doing is imagining my light body. So I literally see my body, my physical body is just like a ball of light, or however you want you want your energetic body to look. And then what I do is I almost start, I'll see either waves of frequency kind of cleansing myself. Sometimes I'll use water, like I'll imagine myself like standing under a waterfall cleansing. Water is such a good utility to use for cleansing yourself in the physical as well. So Nicole said she uses her shower or her Florida water and shower, but even like the ocean is really great. The salt water is really great. Just anything that you could think of, like when you step out of that space or when you've left that space and you experience some sort of like lightness within yourself, that's a way of cleansing as well. Also, grounding. Grounding is a huge way to cleanse yourself. It's probably the most useful and the least like talked about, like how, like, you know, everybody's like, you need to ground, you need to ground, you need to ground. And then naturally people think like, okay, go hug a tree or go put your feet in some on the earth. And it's not quite that easy for some. So if you want to utilize grounding as a way of cleansing, imagine I like to like imagine like a beam of light like that starts in my heart space and then that extends itself up into the astral, into the universe. And then I imagine it like a tree or like branches kind of just branching out into the universe. And then I take that energy and I imagine it coming back down through my heart space, going through all of my chakra points into the center of the earth. And then I'll just imagine like a flow of energy just circulating back and forth. And that will help me cleanse my energy. It helps me ground into the earth's frequency as well. So those are just a few of the ways that I like to use to remember if I'm feeling like a little off kilter or if I'm feeling a little bit more, I don't know. Typically, I know I need to do a cleanse when I'm like a little bit more emotional, not emotionally unregulated, more so. Those are just like really, really quick ways of kind of helping myself to get back to center.
I think that's a really important thing that you just mentioned is ways to know that you need to be cleansed. A lot of times, like when we're out during the day and we're just going, 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 and you don't even think about it, but you come home and then you're like angry, you're antsy, you're argumentative, and that just seems like maybe out of character for you or just not the way you want to be right now. And so cleansing can help a lot with that, you know, just kind of coming back to self and like shedding off any of the energies and things that have come up throughout the day. I do like to have a smoke cleanse. I feel like those are the most effective for me. I typically use Palo Santo. I do use sage if it seems something that's just really needs like that extra oomph. But I use it very sparingly because usually Palo Santo does enough for me.
My biggest, I would say most effective currently, it shifts and changes a lot with me, kind of based on what I believe in. If I'm kind of like, I don't think this is working today, it's probably not gonna work. That's like a big thing for a lot of you that are listening. And for me, if I'm believing it's working, it's most likely working. If I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't think this is strong enough for today, it's probably not going to be strong enough. So right now for me, it's the sounds. Like I ring my little bells to cleanse, or I put my YouTube on to get some frequencies in the space that feel like it needs to be cleansed, or I will even sometimes like sing or make my own little frequency outside myself, kind of like, well, essentially it's singing, but it's like channeling a tune in a way. That'll be a big thing for me if I'm all of a sudden just like busting out in song. Like it's probably because I need a cleanse, which is my kind of telltale for if I'm in a space that I'm like, wow, this is like really icky. I'll start kind of humming, I've noticed, which can also be really regulating to your nervous system. So it's like a double prize there. And another thing that I've noticed that I utilize a lot is crystals, like selenite. If I'm just like really having a hard time, I have a huge selenite wand. I'll just sit and hug it for a good amount of time and really ask that this energy cleanses but also recharges me, because if I'm needing a cleanse, do I need a little extra energy? Like what feels a little depleted here? And similar to Nicole and Brittany, I do cleanse in the shower often, and I do utilize a lot of, smoke cleansing, but I would say the sound is what really resonates with me currently. Sometimes I'll hug a tree. I ask the tree, I'm like, do you feel like you can handle the denseness I need to be taken? And then it will usually be like, yeah, or not necessarily. And one thing I wanted to add is I have a pet that I feel like cleanses me a lot. Like if he comes and lays like on top of me, which not usually, he's just like on top of me. And when that happens, I'm like, okay, I think he's energetically helping me with something at this time.
One of the other things that Brittany had brought up is cleansing with the earth, grounding. And that's something that I've experienced a lot where if I'm needing like just like overwhelming emotions, or even like with my son, if he's having like a big emotion, I'll just put us out on the ground, outside, sit on the ground. And usually, I'll just ask Earth to help us like transmute, to be rid of those heavy, dense emotions or whatever we're needing at the time, but also to cleanse it, to transmute it and cleanse it so that way Earth isn't taking on heavy, dense emotions and then it's just sitting there. But asking her to do something with it that is also her cleansing herself.
That's a really good reminder, as well. To you can even ask your spiritual teams for this. And I know a lot of the times Ash has even reminded me, like, if you're going through something, offer it to Lucifer, offer it to your team. They want to help you with these things because they want, that's quite literally their job, is to kind of help you and assist you throughout this life, right? This time and space. So that is another really, really great way to kind of do a quick cleanse with your energy. If you're in, I know especially people who are more sensitive, like the three of us, or even those who are listening, when you're more sensitive in larger crowds, I tend to get really, really overwhelmed because my abilities are going nuts. So I'm picking up on everybody's energy around me. And on top of that, I have all of the, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking of myself at the fair this past summer where I was like, oh my God, like so overwhelmed. So I have all the I have all the physical, but I have all the spiritual things that I'm like just trying to really get through and not take on as I'm like going throughout my day. So a lot of the times when I'm going into spaces, and what I've learned to do is like I'll ask a member of my team, hey, can you come with me? Or can you offer your energy to me to help transmute some of the physical energy that's going on around me so that it's not so overwhelming. Um, there's a lot of like really fun if you're into any type of witchcraft. It doesn't have to be necessarily called witchcraft, right? We can just call it energy work, right? So for sake of offense to anybody. So another way that I really like to do cleanses, especially in my home, and I have a ritual I do at the beginning of each season where I will physically clean my home. And then as I'm cleaning my home, like this is also me being very much a Virgo, where I will wash the walls. So I get my wall mop, and I make a little I make a little like a simmer pot of herbs and typically it's like herbs and a couple spices there. Like I'll use cinnamon, I'll use lemon, I'll use peel of oranges. I just like to use something that like the scents are making me happy. They're very much reminiscent of the season that we're going into, and I'll put it in a little pot, and the smell really helps to clean the house. But then I'll take a little bit of the water from those pots, and I'll put it in my wash, and then I'll just wash down my house with that. And then with that, what I'll also do is I'll open all my windows in my house, and I'll do a sound cleansing as well. So I'll go to the TV, I'll put on some frequency, whatever I'm feeling is necessary in the moment. And I just blast it. And I do that. There's a whole day process. So it's very much a ritualistic thing that I like to do. And I feel like not only like, is it cleansing my energy, but it's just like something that I really enjoy doing because I feel like it makes the family feel a little bit lighter. Like coming home to a really nice clean home, or coming home to like a really nice space where you could just feel the shift from whatever you're coming home from is so important in your day to day. And so I really like to offer that not to myself, but to my family as well. And I do take notice of the shift that goes on within them as well. We all spoke a little bit more about cleansing in the shower, but another way to cleanse is through like baths. So you can run your bath, you can use again herbs, certain herbs, and then you can use even energy stones in there as well, or any kind of energetic what else? Like oils. Oils are a big thing that you can use in there too, like some rose oil or anything like that. Whatever you feel like you need in that moment. When you're in that bath and you're setting that intention, think about the things that you want that bath to encompass. Do you want it to just be something for a calmer mind, a calmer body? Do you need something for motivation? Do you need something for um protection, whatever it is? Think about those things and what those things encompass to you. And as you're thinking of it, if certain herbs and spices or um, anything like that come up, look up the magical properties of those things. And typically, your intuition is telling you exactly what you need. So go and collect those things. If you're able to find them in nature, even better. If you need to borrow a couple things from a couple friends, spice cabinet, do what you have to do. But just set the intention of having that bath. And you can even do that in conjunction with working with your spiritual team. So what I will do is I'll do a cleansing bath, and I'll do it and offer it up to my higher self. And that's also like a nice way to kind of incorporate your team in with your practice.
One of the things that you made me think of with the bath is like when you're drinking your water, you can also set intentions with your water because water has that molecular structure that changes with frequency and sound. So even if you wanted to have your water out next to your sound bowl when you're, playing that, or if you even just speak over your water, and then as you're drinking it, it will cleanse, and give you the benefits of what you're asking it to do.
I think another interesting concept with cleansing is kind of like what do you cleanse? Like what needs a cleanse? Because like we require cleanses, but do like your divination tools, does your home, do your children, does your food, does I personally, and I want to hear from you guys too. I think I could cleanse everything. Do I know? And now I'm sitting here thinking, should I be? But I really have a good practice of like anything secondhand, I cleanse. I don't want any of the old energy on it, whether it's from a thrift store, handed down to me. That to me is yes, oh, I'm gonna cleanse that. But now I'm thinking at the store, if I'm bringing home something new, people could have touched that. I could be cleansing these things. Or I could even state to the universe whenever something enters the sacred space of my home, automatically cleanse it to its best working frequency for me. So then I don't necessarily have to automatically cleanse everything with a tool. Once it enters the space of the blueprint of my home, that energetic signature automatically has that be a good signature for it, all based in the highest good, of course. But I was just kind of thinking about that, and I'm curious what you guys think.
I definitely feel like, yes, you could cleanse. I mean, anybody can cleanse anything, right? We definitely try to cleanse, I think, more mindfully the tools that we use when we're in our practice. But with that being said, as far as your home, like you said, you're bringing those items in. Um, for me, I feel like if I were just to cleanse my home, those items are in my home, so they would also be cleansed. But I will say I have like a little team of helpers that when I need them to, I send them to every nook and cranny to cleanse the whole house, everywhere, anywhere, anything. And I give them the intention of what to do, like why they're cleansing it, or, and that's because I don't always have the time or the space to be able to do that. So again, it's part of a team, and I just send them to do it.
I really like this idea of like setting the intention with the universe to cleanse anything that kind of enters your home, and I'm really big on that as well. I actually hang stuff above my door, and like my front door and my back door, to make sure that anything that enters kind of goes through that 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 energetic frequency that I set there. But I do like the physical. I'm such a physical aspect type of girl, where I'm like, I really like to see something physical, so it reminds me, and it kind of keeps it in my brain like, okay, I feel like anything that comes in has to go through this, so it does make me feel a little bit more protected as it's entering my home. Again, use a lot of sound frequencies. And so I hang doors or I hang bells on the back of my doors as well. So anytime I enter my home, it cleanses the energy and whatever kind of is attached to me. I do that. There's something since I moved into this house that I have now. There's something. My closet's pretty big, but the attic is in my closet, like just above my closet. So the space to get in there, or the entryway to get into the attic, is in my closet. And I swear there's something in that damn attic, and I've tried to get rid of it. So, and it's pretty much been kept at bay, but I just kind of like leave it alone, and it leaves me alone. But I have bells on my closet door. And my husband gets so annoyed. He's like, "Why do you have these friggin' bells here?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. You don't need to know. Don't ask questions. Just know they have a purpose." So I do that. And then I think it is a really smart idea if you're going into, like, I know that when I'm shopping, especially when I'm shopping in a spiritual store, there is a thing of like you have a hand of receiving. Your receiving hand should never touch the thing that you're and I don't know if this is true. I might have heard this just, and it's I've just kept it with me all these years. But your receiving hand shouldn't touch anything that you're not going to purchase, because then you're leaving your energetic signature with that thing. So I'm dominant right. I'm dominant on my right side, so I always use my left hand when I'm shopping around for stuff. Also, it's like more of a masculine energy on the left side of me, and so I'm like, I think that kind of helps a little bit too. Whether it does or not, it's my belief. So that's what I go with. But I think that people can attach a lot of negative, not even a negative energy, but just their energy in an item. Like if you think about something that you really, really love and you're window shopping, like you've made that energetic connection with that thing, right? And so whether you can afford to purchase it or not, you've left that energetic signature with it. So the person next that purchases it, like maybe they're taking a little bit of your energy with them. So yeah, I really do like the idea of kind of cleansing things. I also, when in my practice, like when we're lighting candles for our spiritual team, we definitely cleanse those things. And I'll typically do that with like an incense. I'll light an incense and I'll go clockwise, and I'll just say like release whatever energy is attached to this, and then I'll go I'll go counterclockwise with that, and then I'll go clockwise and I'll set the intention of offering it to whoever, and then light the candle. So there's just a lot of little things that you can do just for peace of mind, just to set that intention of like, I feel good in my space. I feel good receiving and offering these things to yourself or whoever. And I think that when you sit in those feelings, it goes a long way in your day to day life and your practice and your interactions with people, because you are, one of our past episodes was just like your intentions, right? So like the intentions that you're setting is so important, and it helps you to kind of learn to be a little bit more of a kind person, because you are being really not just attentive to yourself, but your interactions within your day to day.
That made my team kind of pop in and want to let me share something. When you mentioned like cleansing for the team, my team was like, "Oh, tell how you cleanse for us." So you guys may know I work a lot with the dragons, and they have me blow on things. Dragon breath, makes sense. When I first connected with them, one thing that they made primarily clear to me is that their breath can be very cleansing too. I just have to ask and direct it. So if I feel like my other tools aren't working, it's not something I like to call on a lot, just for sake of respect to that energy. It's not my go-to. But if I feel like I'm having a hard time and I really need additional assistance, I call on the dragon cleansing breath, or they can take me to a sacred space and do like a really deep cleanse with me. So I do call on those energies, just not very often out of personal respect. But the act of breath, the act of breathing, can even be cleansing too. Like if you find yourself taking a deep breath just randomly, that could be centering to balance, but also potentially to cleanse your energy or an item that you're using.
Yeah, I love that because, before I had this little like cleansing team that I have now, I I would call on my dragon to cleanse the home with their breath. That's also something that I've experienced a lot in like shamanic practices is the breath. So if you're going to see a shaman, be prepared, they're probably going to breathe on you. You actually have to go through training to learn how to do that properly. Like if you're working on somebody else, like how to take in the tobacco and breathe it out, or even with Florida water, putting it in your mouth and not swallowing it. So those are definitely things that Again, the breath is so powerful.
Another aspect of cleansing that I really wanted to talk about is the active cleansing energy cords. So you are connected with potentially family members. We'll kind of leave it there for now. With a corded connection. And if they're not cleansed, you might be getting residual, we'll call it ickies just for fun, from that cord. Now, you can actively go and cleanse that corded connection for you consistently so that the energy does not affect you. You know, oftentimes there's boundaries needed in retrospect to that as well. That's a whole nother thing. But cleansing the cord can be done with, you know, any way that you find resonance with cleansing. But the benefit to it is sometimes that cleansing can help even heal that connection as well.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, I think about it in the sense of like, so my husband works in a job where he's around people all day long, and it's high stress at times. And there have been times where like he comes home and I'm like, you need to cleanse because like I can feel it, or like I'll just quick like go around and cleanse like the house, and even not just like specifically cleanse him, but just cleanse our space, and it helps cleanse him. Not directly, but it does help affect him and the area around us.
I think that's something to be spoken about a little bit more, only because like we talk about like our practices and like the being ethical within our practices. So is that something that you ask permission of him to do, or is that something that you know is like just something is he okay with those kinds of things? I think about doing this with my partner as well, but not that I think they would mind, but I just I don't want to cross those boundaries with him. So I think more of what I like to do, and maybe I should switch my perception of this, but more of what I like to do is just like remain more focused on myself. But you're right. Like I don't even do it with my daughter just because she doesn't really understand or conceptualize the type of things I do a lot. I mean, I have spoken with like her team to kind of go in and help her with some things. But as far as your partner, do you go directly to him? Would you go to his team? Like, how would you navigate that with somebody who hasn't done that before?
Yeah, so I think it all depends. You know, there have been times where like I'll ask him if he wants me to cleanse him, and he'll typically say yeah. Or if I think it's just something that's kind of like hanging around, you know, that's when I just go to the house because we're here and it'll do its job. There have also been times where like I'll go to his team, like if he's not here and I can tell that something's going on, I'll like have my team reach out to his team. And same goes like for my son, you know, he's a little too young to know. I mean, he's done cleanses with me. He thinks it's fun, but if like he needs like a little extra for himself, like when he comes home from school and he's been around all those people all day long, I will, you know, sometimes you can tell. So I'll ask his team, or, you know, I'll just take a little flutter water and spritz it around the car while he's in it. So we're all getting the benefits of it since we're all sharing the space. So even if I cleanse him, I'm still around. So I'll need the cleansing as well. So it's kind of just a catch-all in a sense.
The other week I went and saw my aunt, and as soon as I walked in, I was like, "Oof, this space needs to cleanse." And then we got to talking, we got to chatting, and then eventually I just said something, and you know, a big part of the the knowing or the able to sense with my clairsentience of spaces needing a cleanse is yes, in part I am able to cleanse them, but also is that denseness providing something for them? So there's definitely a big kind of, you know, should I or shouldn't I? Where's the permission? But eventually I did just come out and ask him, like, the energy of your home feels pretty dense, you know, can we go around and cleanse it? And a really interesting thing that I wanted to share with you guys about this is the method that we were using to cleanse. She found like it smelled like really, really bad. And I was like, if it smells really bad to you, that's because you need it. That's like my own personal belief, but she thought that the smoke cleanse smelled like kind of like BO. And then she was like, oh yeah, whatever. And then eventually it started smelling like sweet and natural to her. And I was like, yeah. So just know if you're using a cleansing tool and it doesn't feel like it resonates to you at that time, that's important because that tool can also give you extra indicators like crystals. Sometimes they will break if they've cleansed something really strong, or sometimes smoke cleanse will smell a little off if it's really working hard. Like these tools can really show you as well, what's effective and what's not for you.
I'm laughing because I just lit a stick of Palo Santo and I started choking on it immediately. I'm cleansing myself over here trying to not die.
That's another thing to know. I mean, for those of you that do enjoy a bit of the green medicinal medicine, that can be very cleansing too when utilized properly. Not that that's what Brittany was doing with the Palo Santo, but there's so many ways. I mean, even the food you cook, you can have the intention it cleanses you. So in with that in mind, I am curious what your guys' go-to, like if you were to choose a crystal, if you had to have a crystal, it's because I feel like a lot of our listeners resonate with crystals. If you were to pick a crystal that you're like, yeah, I know this is gonna really cleanse me and will do the job. I spoke of selenite earlier, but I'm curious what two of you, if you agree with that or if there's a different crystal that really comes to mind.
Oh God, I'm so bad with crystal names, but I think it's called orange calcite. I think I could be wrong about that, but I have a big one by my bed that I use, but I put the two together. So do the orange calcite and I do like a big huge tower of selenite. And then I also really enjoy and like my brain naturally goes to protection, but I'm gonna stick with those two. Those are the two off the top of my head, or even amethyst. I have a big thing of amethyst, so I wonder if that's cleansing. I'll have to check the magical properties of that, but I would say that those three are like the main that I turn to when I feel like I need cleansing. Those are the main three, I should say. Sorry.
I have selenite all over my house. It's in every room, every window, every door. It's everywhere in my house. I also have black tourmaline everywhere. That's protection, also grounding, but it helps cleanse. It kind of gives that as well. Um, my other really big one that I love, well, I guess I have two other big ones that I really love. It's the Golden Healer and Rose Quartz.
That's the one. Not orange calcite, golden healer. Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah, I love them. I think that they're like very light feeling. They feel good to use. And a lot of times too, that people don't always realize like you can put a crystal next to, I think it's selenite, and it'll cleanse it. So you can use your selenite to cleanse your other tools.
So that's probably a good thing to touch on as well. How do you guys cleanse your spiritual tools? For myself, I like to leave them out in the moonlight. Like I'll gather my I keep calling them energy stones. This is how much I don't know anything about crystals. I'm like, I gather my energy stones. God, I gather my crystals and I'll put them in the like window, like on the windowsill, and I'll let the moon kind of cleanse it. What do you guys usually do?
I usually resort to sound, I would say. If I feel like they really need like a deep cleanse, I'll do a smoke cleanse. But usually it's the sound. I'll ring a bell over them. It kind of depends on what I'm using the tool for as well. If it is an offering, I make sure I deep cleanse it. If it's like a divination tool, I feel like as long as I'm cleansing the last time I used it, I'm fine, just because it's usually cleansed before that as well. So I would say yes, sound and smoke. The moon and me, we're getting along a lot more lately. But we have a lot of stuff with each other. I resonate with the sun a little more, I will say. So I do find myself, even my light body loves the sun. So I'll stand in the sun just to cleanse myself. So sometimes I'll put my it depends on the tool, because not all tools can be in sunlight, because some crystals can't. So really use discernment with that and research that. But I would say the sun is probably what I put stuff out in more if it's allowed to be in the sun.
I use sound. That's typically my go-to. I usually like ring my bell. I used to have like a selenite bowl that I would keep them in, but now there's just kind of like too many. But yeah, sound is like my go-to.
How about when you guys are cleansing, do you guys cleanse your altar spaces and what do you do to cleanse your altar spaces? Is it the same type of thing or is there something else that you do that's different?
My altars need to be extremely updated. In my head, I'm thinking that if I'm to cleanse them, I probably would take everything off and like completely like freshen it up, cleanse it with like, even just soap and water, just something to cleanse the foundation of it. And then even the items, I would probably choose to smoke cleanse.
I do exactly that actually. If I'm going to cleanse my altar, I take everything off. I wipe it down with Florida water, or sometimes I'll use moon water or a moon water spray made by somebody really cool that I know. Nicole. Or I will the tricky thing for me with that is that I can't smoke cleanse because the smoke is an offering. That's like how I've worked with these beings that the altar's for. So if I'm to smoke cleanse it, it goes as an offering. It doesn't go as a cleansing, which that's why intention is really important with whatever you're using. Because if I was to use smoke within that space, it would go to an offering. There's a really strong pathway for that. Another offering that I use a lot is candle. So like fire is really cleansing. But fire in that space is not able to cleanse just because it's an offering. I do want to just add like a little thing that I just thought of. If you have stuff that you want to really cleanse physically and you feel like you need to cut ties, burn it safely. But it just keeps coming to mind that there's like a little rebel energy, a little like really powerful like fire energy coming through that I'm being guided to share about, that just like write it out and burn it. Or if there is something that like your toxic ex got you that's able to be safely burned, burn it.
I was just going to touch on that a little bit, because if you're thinking about trying to cleanse yourself, your physical, or for me it's more mental, what I'll do is I will write stuff down, and then I will burn it in like a little like miniature cauldron, or I'll even throw it into like a bonfire, and I offer it to whoever, the universe, my team, whoever. And that's like another really powerful way to cleanse. Or even if you get in like a group of your closest girlfriends, and you guys are going through, like, think about working with those types of things in conjunction with the moon phases. So if there's a really powerful moon that's good for release, or a moon phase that's good for release for you, then write those things down, burn it, and then offer it to whoever you'd like, or just yourself.
Do we want to do like an affirmation? Is there like a cleansing mantra that you guys would want to share?
I think we should we just do like a deck? Or unless Ash has something specific.
The only thing that came to mind was sharing the statement I say in the morning.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Do you guys like that?
Yeah.
So I say, Source, if it's in my highest good, please allow me to utilize the rainbow flame for a quantum cleanse, heal, and removal. And now I add those extra two at the end in case anything I picked up residual for healing of the collective or other energies that I worked with, or a removal of any, negative energy that's a little extra than a cleanse, that will remove kind of like illusions, mirages, a little extra there. But it's Source, if it's in my highest good, please quantumly utilize the rainbow flame to cleanse, heal, and utilize a full removal.
So we want to thank you for tuning in to today's episode and expanding within conscious conversations. We now close this sacred space with love and gratitude. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected. We'll see you next time.